Mabuhay! Kamusta? My name is Dinah and welcome to Positively Pinoys podcast. In this podcast, I will share inspiring stories and lessons from my Filipino friends around the world and back home. I will talk to Filipino overseas workers who are making a difference in their own ways and Filipinos back home who are excelling in their fields that we can all learn from. So tara na, magchikahan tayo! In connection with the COVID-19 topics of Positively Pinoys podcast, I talked to Nekesha, a flight attendant in one of the top airlines of the world. I asked her about her experiences as she continues to go to work and fly internationally, despite the current world pandemic. We talked about on what she thinks about the future of traveling as we slowly navigate our lives into the new normal.
So hi, I'm Nekesha. I'm half Filipino, half Indian. I was born in Iloilo and I grew up in the UK.
Welcome. So Nekesha used to be my student when she was in grade 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember you being the Barbie doll little girl. And Nekesha also happens to have a very, very good voice. You have a YouTube channel, don't you, or no?
Yes, I do. It's not active at the moment. However, I'll try and get things back on it.
I wanted to interview Nekesha because her career right now is being a flight attendant. And I really want to have her on the show and talk about the future of traveling, or at least the traveling atmosphere at the moment during COVID-19 crisis, because you continue to do your job even in situation like this, which I believe like you're very one of the few ones I know of, at least in that industry, who were lucky to, retain that job.
Let's still have it. Yeah.
Okay, so first question, Miss Universe. So with your background, you're already very international. So have you always wanted to be a flight attendant? And how did this come about,
When I was younger, I had like always admired flight attendants, like when we were traveling. But I didn't think much of it growing up because I fell in love with music. I studied music. And then it was only until like a few years ago when I got into the right age bracket to apply. My parents encouraged me to try and take the opportunity. So here I am today.
And how did this, the applying and how did this come about? Like, how did it come within your radar? Is it because of your parents or is it because of some friends? Like,
yeah, my parents, I remember talking to them and they were like saying, why don't you try being a flight attendant? And I remember I really wanted it when I was little. I used to practice doing the PAs and stuff. So I remembered I used to like it. So I did my own research, tried to check out what companies are hiring. And I was lucky I found the one near me. So I went.
How tall are you? Is there like a specific height in your company when it comes to height?
It depends on the company. For mine, I was lucky. It's 212 centimeters, I think it was. So I'm 5'4", but it really depends on company, height and age as well.
So how did you learn about COVID-19 being in the flying or airline industry? And what were the initial reactions from the people or from your colleagues about it?
I learned of it, I think, just from word of mouth and then the news. Like the initial reactions were mixed. Like some believed it to be true, some didn't. And I personally didn't know any better. Like at the time, I didn't realize how quickly it would spread as well, or like how much damage it would cause.
If we have to go back in time, January was like, the spreading around China.
Yeah.
Where were you flying, or which area in the world were you at the time?
At the time, I was doing a few Asian flights. We knew about it. We were wearing our masks, but outside, it wasn't even like on board yet. It wasn't implemented on board yet.
Okay, so You were already wearing masks, but not on board, not in flights.
No, not during the
Okay.
flights. Like outside, yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. Can you explain to us what it was like with your work pre-COVID? Like, what was your flying schedule like, or how many people are flying? Because like you're working in one of the best airline companies in the world, which we will not name, but it's out there.
Thank you. Yeah. Working before COVID, like flights were busy. I mean, it was the beginning of the new year. Like school starts, families are going home, work begins. So like I was doing at least 6 flights a month before. But like as I think March, like the lockdown started happening, so it all like decreased.
What was like the explanation when it comes to with your job? Like, how did they explain that to you guys in a way that?
Yeah, again, it was like it was mixed reactions from the start. Like from the beginning, like we didn't know what to expect, but as soon as they implemented things and telling us to wear our protective equipment, then we started taking things seriously, because at the time we were still doing things as normal.
So you said 6 times a month. That's your regular
schedule. At least 6 flights. Yeah, at least
6 flights a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's around like 80 plus hours.
Are they all international or within regional?
It depends, but yeah, mostly international.
Okay. So now, what is the differences? Who are flying these days, and what's the reason why they're traveling, and who can travel these days? I mean, given all the travel bans within countries and international borders, who are traveling, and what's your schedule like these days?
Schedule now, as I said, the drastic change is like now I'm only doing like maybe 1 or 2 flights a month. I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones who are getting flights at least. I know others that don't have any at all. After COVID, like the lockdown started happening, borders were closing. That's the reasons why. Difference now is that yes, we're flying, but it's more chartered flights or rescue flights. Like we do have our normal flights, but it's mainly nationals going home. That's what it is. We're just trying to get people home.
Okay. Is that why you flew to the Philippines like just 2 weeks ago or something like that?
Yeah.
So there were, what was the flight full?
The flight going into Philippines, no. Flight coming out, yes. We had almost full, yeah.
So these are like people from the country where you're working?
Foreign nationals. Yeah, they were working.
Nationals.
Foreign nationals. They were leaving the country.
Repatriated by their respective countries to go back to where they are. As someone who's, continues to work during this time, what are your fears and worries personally and professionally? Maybe we should start professionally first. Like
professional. Okay.
Well, professionally, because as I'm also following news within everywhere, when it comes. So we all know that a lot of airline companies have also decreased the number of their employees and all that. So how was it for you professionally first? Like, what were
exactly
your
fears? Exactly what you're saying. Like my fear and worries was like at this time was the thought of being redundant, losing the job. I mean, it'd be tough not only for me, but like, I mean, everyone else. It's a tough time right now as well.
But did your company let go of some of your colleagues, or?
Yes,
they did.
Yes,
okay.
I think most airlines did. I mean, it's sad, but they had to.
And what were the qualifications of that? Like, why would they be let go? I mean, from what you know of.
Why? I think it just depended. I don't know like the main reasons exactly, but for me, I'm just lucky. Like I didn't lose anything. Okay. But as far as I know, it's like maybe like the new ones, the very new ones, or the ones without much experience, I think were
let go. Okay. And how long have you been working with this company now?
Almost 3 years.
So personally, what are your fears being still under this pandemic?
As we're still under it, my fear is like everyone else. It's like contracting it and being asymptomatic, not knowing that I have it, and I'm spreading it. That's like That's what I fear. I fear more for others actually than myself.
And what sort of protection or preventive measures were you given or being practiced now in your airline company?
And
Is
the
there
airline, we're
anything?
lucky. Yes, we're lucky. We're being given the right PPEs to use, like mask, gloves, overalls.
In flights, like you
Yes,
have to use
yes,
this.
in flight.
And what about the travelers? Are they also wearing masks the whole flight? What it was like? Do they
Actually, from
have
the
one part, something like that? Is that I mean, I'm just trying to picture them out. Like, how is it now within?
now, it's just that like we reduce our interactions with them, but they have their own masks, and if they need, we do provide. I mean, we have hand sanitizers and everything as well available on board.
There's no social
Yeah.
distancing inside the airline.
We try, we try to, but it's hard. It's hard because you're confined in a small space as well for a number amount of time. So it's like it's hard, but we try to distance ourselves. I mean, we try to distance from crew and we try to distance from passengers.
Is there any chance for economy flight passengers to go into business class and first class, because first class and business class are not that many, or not really?
Not really. I think it depends. It depends, I think, but I've never had the time where they came into business.
So it's not really that full. I mean, like,
No, not super full. Plus, there's not many people flying because of the what's happening. I mean, borders are closed. People are flying mainly to go home, not for vacation.
What about regional in the country where you're at? Are there also people still flying, or there are restrictions within the country?
In the country, there's not really many flights, but international, that's the main.
Because I know there is not really like a mandatory lockdown in your country that I know of. Like, you did not really go into lockdown in there. Like, people can still go to work. Is that?
Yeah, people are still working, but most places are actually like closed. Like malls are closed, restaurants are closed. The main is just groceries and I think like places like banks and stuff. I think that's the only essential. Banks, hospitals, all that.
I've read this in the Atlantic about air travel is going to be very bad for a very long time because of all the industries devastated by the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown, like, you know, restaurants and bars, hotels and convention centers, movie theaters, shopping malls. The airline situation in a sense was the worst. So most of the other businesses are suffering because they have been told to close, but the airlines are suffering in part because they have been told to stay open. Yes. So that was like, oh yeah, that's right. So what do you think, like, you know, for traveler as yourself, what do you think is the future of this industry, and what do you think will convince people to travel again? Because like for us here in France, although yes, the lockdown has now lifted, but we are not encouraged just yet to travel internationally, which I believe will take a long time to happen. I guess it's within the Shenzhen borders, but then, as you know, within Europe, you can travel by trains or by cars and all that, but not through airline industry. So what do you think is the future of this industry, and as a traveler yourself?
To be honest, like I don't think the industry will suffer a long time. Yes, it will suffer, but not for long. Like as travel seems to be more of a necessity than just the desire. I mean, people have to travel for work and whatnot, businesses. Like, I don't think people need much convincing. As you said, like people will always want a getaway. I think they'll travel as soon as they feel safe.
And is there like any advice from the company, like, okay, we're like this right now, we'll keep on doing this and all that, and I don't know, well, when it comes to like the business side of the company, have they been open to you as workers about the situation and all that?
For me, I think it's just going to be okay. Like traveling wise, people are going to travel. Like It's hard to say now because there's a lot happening and things are always changing. Like lockdown rules are always being changed, and because things are opening up slowly, I think it's gonna resume, hopefully anyway. But like
So
it's gonna take time. For me, I'm trying to be optimistic about it because
yeah, there's no other way to.
yeah, exactly.
I was gonna ask you, like, are you confident to stay in this industry for
Yeah.
given the situation? Because yeah, it's it's still very unknown. We don't know for how long it's gonna affect. Because like right now, okay, sure, like in Europe and in Asia, things are kind of going smoothly, but like in America and Latin America, we're seeing that it's far from over there. Just I
Yeah.
mean they're almost like at the
Mm-hmm.
peak of their cases right now. And so what, we're now in the middle of the year, and then like what's it like when at the end of this year, like yeah, it's very unknown. So I was gonna ask you, like, how confident are you when it comes to working in
So
this
so
industry
far,
right now?
I'm keeping my hopes up. I'm keeping my hopes up because it as I said, yeah, things are changing. I mean, it won't be back to normal, but it's the new normal now. Yeah, that we're gonna have to
And
get used to.
And speaking of the new normal that you've said, what are
Mm-hmm.
the remarkable changes have you seen in every countries you've traveled during this pandemic? Any silver lining, any positive lessons?
Mm-hmm.
Because as travelers, like the airport is always like a very busy, noisy, but in a kind of a good way,
Yeah,
exciting, adrenaline
yeah.
kind of way. So like, what are the remarkable changes you've seen in the
Yeah.
countries you've traveled during this pandemic?
So remarkable changes would be basically seeing lockdown, everything closed. Like I know a lot of airlines are not traveling, so the airports were quite empty. Even our like operations center were empty. Usually it's like full of crew, pilots, but lately even the airports I barely saw
Mm-hmm.
people.
Are there still people working on the ground, like for, I guess, although there is machines for check-in stuff, are there still
Yeah.
people doing that for these people, or
Yes.
what
Yeah,
is
there's
it
still
like?
people. There's still people.
Mm-hmm.
There's still ground staff, and I think only limited things are open. Like as you know, like airports, you're usually excited to go through the duty free, see what
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what there is to get. But no, duty frees have been closed. The
Oh
lights have been
wow.
off. Airports are dark. It's gloomy.
Oh
It has this eerie
wow.
feeling, and it's not the same. It's not the same anymore. And like the lack of tourists in the countries, even the locals outside, it's like it's a scary thought. But I'm glad like the majority of people have been making an effort to stay inside, self quarantine. It helps.
Because I know this from other friends as well, that when you come into an international flight in a
Mhm.
country, you have like what, a day or two to stay in the country,
Yeah,
and you can do
yeah.
your explorations, your short day trips and all that. Can you
Mhm.
still do that? Like, how is it
That's the
now?
thing. It's like certain countries you're not even allowed to go out, or you can't leave your hotel room. And then certain places, the even room services have changed. So I
Oh,
don't even meet the person who's giving me my food. Like yeah, it's it's strange, but
whoa.
yeah, I think like yes, this new normal we're gonna have to get used to for a while, but hopefully it'll go back soon. And like as you're asking, like the silver lining is that the people would learn to appreciate now like the
Mm-hmm.
little even like the
True.
outdoors, nature.
So what do you do when you get into this? You just stay in your hotel and that's it. You had no choice, right?
Yeah, no choice. I have no choice. I
Because
can't really
that's
go exploring.
but you're not subjected to like random fast COVID test, right? You're not subjected to that. Like as long as you stay in your and
Mhm.
hotel rooms and do
It,
not go out.
it depends on the country. It depends on the country. So we just have to follow their government's protocols. So
Mm.
like for some, like I remember going in and we just got like the fever scan tests. But
Which
that's
countries are very, like, I guess, strict in compliance when it comes to like we need to, monitor these people coming
Mm-hmm.
in the country? Are there, I mean, we can say the countries,
I
no?
remember New Zealand was one.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that's a good thing. Like I haven't traveled much, as I said, because of the COVID. I haven't been to many places since.
Mm-hmm.
But one that I know was New Zealand. New Zealand was quite strict. They were putting people in quarantine at like hotels.
How was it in Manila when you when you came
When
in?
I went,
Because it's a very controversial, and at the same time, like the way they
yeah,
handle COVID there
I
is
think they
quite.
were doing quarantine as well. But for us, because we were crew, it was different. We just had like forms to fill up. I remember seeing like others. I think they came from a different flight or what. I don't know exactly, but yeah, they had other procedures to go through.
So let's talk about now on a more positive note. Being a flight attendant, you've almost
Mhm.
been everywhere. And this is only not because you're a flight attendant. Even as a young
Mhm.
kid, you and your family has also been immigrating, right?
Yeah, we traveled quite a bit.
Yeah. What advice can you give to travelers as
Travelers now with COVID, I
mm-hmm.
say I'm gonna say if you can stay where you are at the moment, stay there. At
Okay.
least until like things settle down, borders slowly reopen. However, if there is the urgent need to travel, then please take the extra precautions. I mean, protect yourself first. Be prepared as well to deal or comply with like airport, airline, and the country's rules and regulations because they always change as well. Yeah.
Say for example, I'm a traveler right now, or I'm going to travel. What are
Yeah.
the I mean, not all airlines can provide me the essential things that I need,
Yeah.
like, all this stuff. So what do you think are the essential things I need to keep within my hand carry? Like if I'm
Masks.
traveling within the COVID,
Yeah.
time. So what's the most essential things has to be in my, yeah,
Carry like masks.
hand carry mask, okay.
Masks and your hand sanitizers, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
those are just like the two main basic. If you want gloves, then please do wipes, anything to wipe down aircrafts, because you don't know who sat there before you. You never know.
But then, like, they should desensitize that, right? I mean,
They
before,
do, but still, you
but
never like. It's like you never know. They clean,
well,
they
at least
clean
we know.
aircraft, but
To double sure that it's very,
yeah,
very clean. So okay, so to always bring your, like, alcohol gels, and
yeah,
all the wet wipes with alcohol. I don't
yeah.
know how many percentage of
All
alcohol,
sorts of masks. Yes,
but everything
gloves.
that needs to be antivirus
Yeah, anything you
stuff.
want because we don't have everything as well. We can't provide you with everything because I mean, we the crew has to use things too. So
How's wearing PPE in flight? Is so, as you said, it's the whole flight. So let's say it's a
yeah,
14-hour flight, you're gonna wear that
yeah.
PPE
I just
thing.
did one. It is uncomfortable, but yeah, to think of safety and our health first. It's good, but yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's not the best. It's not the best.
So are you still wearing makeup underneath that? Are you still wearing your uniform
Yeah.
underneath that, or
Yes.
yes?
Makeup and
Okay.
uniform. Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, whoa. But then the good thing about that is, from what I know of, because like my sister works in Barotac as a nurse,
Mhm.
so they have PPEs. So can you imagine in the heat, in this heat,
Yeah.
wearing PPEs? So in your case, although yes, you're wearing PPEs like during the duration of your flight, but I guess
Right.
because
Mhm.
you have this air condition temperature and all that, and usually it's
Yeah.
very cold in the airlines.
Mm-hmm. On board, yeah. That's the thing. On ground, it does get sweaty and hot. So you're before the flight, you're already sweating. But yeah, like we learn to manage. I'm just lucky that it's not the same as the frontliners. I mean, they're doing an amazing job with like having it on and everything, running around and helping people. So I can't complain too much.
What is it made of, your PPEs? Do you know?
I'm not that sure. It's like some synthetic thing, I think.
Isn't it somewhat like close to a, I guess, a parachute material or something like a tent.
I guess it's like plastic and fabric. It's lined outside with like some plastic. I'm not sure exactly what material.
Okay. No, it's not a couture
No,
kind
nothing
of
fashionable.
PPE.
Nothing fashionable.
Okay. Okay, so tell us, what are your 5 favorite places?
Five.
Like,
Okay.
if you have more, then go ahead. We would want to live vicariously through your travels, Nekesha.
It's tough choices. My top five. For me, I used to love New York. I still do. New York
Mm-hmm.
is like my all-time fave. And then I'd go for like Vietnam and the beaches. So I'd say Vietnam, New Zealand. New Zealand's quite amazing. Maldives. That's
Okay.
another one. And Thailand is also good because obviously a lot of tourists go.
Yeah.
And last but obviously not least, I'd also say Philippines. Philippines is amazing.
So they're mostly because of the beaches and all that, and then New
Yeah.
York being your
The,
top, like it's a
the city,
city, like
yeah.
jungle city. Why do you love New York?
I don't know. I've always just like I've loved it since I was little. Like seeing the skyscrapers and just the city life.
How is it compared to London?
London. That's the thing. I've never really lived in London since we're from Liverpool, but it's so different. Even compared to London, like it really is different. Yeah, as I said, skyscrapers. It's busy. Everyone's out until yeah. It's as they say, city never sleeps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to live in New York. I was there for a
Yeah.
year, and
Wow.
it's like the moment so, and it's also kind of like my first ever place that I've been to outside of Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment I landed, I was just like, a world
Yeah,
of its
amazing.
own. It's just like, and in the moment you landed in the airport,
Mhm.
different languages you hear, and it's like it's crazy. And then like we took the train, we took the subway. It was just like so surreal. And then like we
Yeah.
arrived like 3 o'clock in the morning, so it's like everyone's still kind of like out and about, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so this is what they mean
Yeah.
when the city
City
never
never
sleeps.
sleeps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the atmosphere is so different.
Yeah, it has
The
it's a
vibe.
completely world of
It
its
has
own.
its
Like,
own. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. It does.
But then when you start living there, well,
Is that a different story?
yes, it's a
Okay.
different, it's survival of the fittest, so to speak. Like
Okay.
like like in order for you to survive New York, you need to, yeah, you need to have a really good job, or at least like
Mhm.
when you have, like start to live there and like have the kind of lifestyle that I guess
Mm.
most of the common New Yorkers have. So
Yeah.
it's really is adrenaline rush, as I say.
Yeah.
And so, what are the top 5 places that is still on your bucket list?
My bucket list constantly changes though. Like I never really know what I really want. But
Mm-hmm.
then I'd say like Iceland.
That's a good
I want
one.
to go. Yeah, Hawaii. I really want to go. Somewhere in South America, maybe Peru or Mexico or Rio. Rio. I know that you used to
Mm.
live there
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Brazil. So
You
I'd
should
love to
go
go
to
in there.
Brazil. You should go to Brazil during Carnival, but I don't know what is Carnival will be like,
Mm-hmm.
after COVID. But it's really, I've always been telling my friends and families, I said like,
Yeah.
you need to go to Brazil during Carnival, and then after Carnival you can do your excursion, your traveling and all that. But you
Yeah.
need to experience Carnival.
That's what
'Cause-
I want to experience.
Mhm.
Carnival, actually.
Yeah, because there's really nothing on earth like that. I mean,
Yeah.
from what I know, I mean, from the experience, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like beyond. Okay, good.
And probably like maybe Egypt. I want to see pyramids, but like that's about it.
Are you into adventure? I mean, what do you do when you're traveling? What do you go after? Is it like the monuments, is the history, or that sort of thing? What are you into when you
It depends because usually I visit the place maybe once or twice. For the first time, I like to see what monuments or what's famous in the country.
mm,
Otherwise, I try and explore a bit more, maybe beaches or as I said, I love the beach. I try to do the adventurous stuff, but again, that also costs. So it depends on the budget.
What
But
about
yeah.
food? Like, are you into exploring more of their food,
Oh,
trying
food.
them
Oh yes,
out?
I love eating. Think so.
Yeah, what's like your top most favorite foods of the world or dishes?
Top favorite. Oh, Vietnamese food. I love
Ah,
Vietnamese food.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said like Vietnam, because it's like my favorite.
I've never been to Vietnam, but like just Vietnamese food outside of Vietnam is already like good, right?
It's already amazing. So imagine
Yeah.
going to
So
the country and
imagine,
trying real
yes.
authentic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Chinese, I know Chinese food. It's a hit and hit and miss with Chinese food,
Mm-hmm.
because I always say to my friends, like, okay, if you want to eat Chinese food outside of China, you need to go where the local China, the Chinese people go. Don't go where
Yeah.
most of the local
The Westerners go. Yeah.
Westerner goes, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
crap.
Of course.
Go where the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese go. But with Vietnamese food, I feel like you just go anywhere,
Anywhere you go,
and then
anywhere you go
like
in
you're
Vietnam,
just
it'll
like
be good.
blown away by it. And like, so Vietnamese, okay. And what else is
Mm-hmm.
food?
I'm so like homey. I just love my Filipino food.
Where do you get your Filipino food though? I mean, like,
Here, there's a lot of Filipinos here, so there's a lot of
yeah,
them.
okay.
I'm lucky in that sense. And yeah, otherwise in the UK, I always ask my mom to cook something yummy. I mean,
Mommy's
she always
food
cooks my
are always
favorites
the
whenever
best.
I get home.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've recently also found a Filipino chef here, because there's no Filipino restaurant in Paris. I mean, there is one that just opened this year. Then I went to their
Fine.
I went to their I went to their restaurant, but I didn't really seem to like it, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're catering it more to the French
West.
rather than the
Okay.
Filipino. So I'm like, and then I know someone, like, her name is Erica, and she's actually James Paredes' daughter, and she's doing Filipino food. So she's doing delivery and takeout. So she's my latest Filipino food picks right now. So it's like, ugh, so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Like I saw, was it like pandesalan? Was it buko pie
Yes.
or something that you were?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Because under COVID, for under the lockdown, me and my friends, like, obviously we've got nothing else to do rather than explore our master chef, you know
Yeah.
hidden talents. And so
Yeah.
what else do we know of? It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're living abroad, as you know, that like we just have to have Filipino homey food. And so, well, YouTube tutorials are out there. But then
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that although you can find stuff in Asian store, but not specifically Filipino,
Food. Yeah,
ingredients.
products. Yeah, yeah.
So it's quite, so you just kind of just do a little, especially Ilonggo dishes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling this, like, Ilonggo dishes are so different from, obviously, from the
This,
Metro Manila dishes,
yeah,
because
it
our,
is.
say for example, I don't know how do you cook adobo, but our adobo has atsuete.
So
Ah,
different.
may,
Yeah,
may
exactly.
coloring ang atong adobo. And
Mm-mm.
then
It's yellow.
in Manila, no. So it's like, even that
Yeah.
that sweaty powder or mixture,
Yeah.
it's so hard to find. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's not the same. It's not the
And
same.
that's how I like my adobo. I'm so specific as well.
Yes, so exactly. And then we have KBL, Kadyus Baboy lang ka. So how can you cook
Yes.
KBL abroad when you don't have
We have
the
kanjus.
juice? Yes. Ano pa gina mga
Bat
ano ta?
choy. All that
Of
stuff.
course, batchoy, yes. And ano pa gani diya ang may ang gata,
Inasal, all that stuff.
the one with the slippery okra gata, and do you like that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah,
gata,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the gata with the alimango,
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Oh my
so
God, you're making me hungry now.
yes, so it's just these simple dishes. Like when you were growing up in Iloilo, it's like sometimes we don't like the vegetables as we go. Like,
Yes.
oh, we want fried chicken, we want fried bangus, that. But then now, as I live abroad, it's like, oh, I miss this.
Yeah, you miss it. You miss the veg.
Yes, so
all the utan. Yeah.
Yes, all the utan in the world. My God, yes.
Pati kangkong.
Yes! Just the, di ba, ang kangkong with the kinamos? My goodness.
Kinamos. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So wait, when you were growing older, you eat more Filipino foods than Indian foods? I mean, Indian foods in general is also...
Yeah, it was a mix of both, but yeah, mainly Filipino food.
Mm-hmm. So did you grow up loving spicy food?
Yeah, I like spice. I mean, Ilonggos eat spicy stuff as well, so...
Yeah, but not that much. I mean, a little bit, but not as as spicy as Indian spices.
As Indian, yeah, the Indian side, yeah. But like mainly Filipino food, and up to now, I'm always ordering Filipino food. If I can't make it myself, I'll order.
That's a good thing about living in the Middle East or in that part, because you have a lot of Filipino stores, Filipino people who offer takeout,
stores,
or
restaurants,
delivery,
everything.
or yes, and then you have Filipino stores, that you can just buy all these ingredients. But somehow here in Paris, I don't know where we're minority in terms of the Asian.
Yeah. Luckily, like the UK is. I remember the UK being like that. It was hard to find ingredients, but now it's. There's a lot of Filipino stores opening. Even Jollibee has opened in.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That sounds like that's great.
It's good. Yeah.
And like soon there'll be one in Liverpool. So they're making their way through.
Do you have any idea like how many is the population of Filipinos in Liverpool, or? No?
Oh, I'm not. I don't know numbers exactly, but there's a lot. There used to be a community, but.
So basically, like, what are you just really looking forward to in your industry, in this, the quote unquote, the future of traveling after COVID, or during COVID?
I just hope things get better. That's all. Like, I can't really hope for much because we still don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if it's going to peak again or what. But I just hope things continue to go.
And I hope you get to keep your job.
That's what I pray for, at least. Yeah,
and I'm glad that you're still flying in and flying out. Especially now, summertime, it's supposed to be like, this is like the favorite season of people flying in and out. Like,
usually the holidays begin. It's gonna take time. Just let's not rush into opening borders or anything when it's not safe yet.
Hopefully not too long, or not like in 3 years time or something, but hopefully
not 3 years. No, it's too long.
Too
long to wait.
not too long. So any other advice or words of wisdom? Okay, of course, I guess. Okay, I will add this question. From I'd say this, with given the social media in the Philippines, on how much and how many people are using it to obviously inform themselves or educate themselves, and also we know that a lot of millennials are into traveling, are to that sort of stuff now in the Philippines. So what advice would you give to, say, a Filipino who's listening and who wants to be a flight attendant just like you? Like, what do they need to do? What will they look for? I mean, based on your experience, because from what we know of, like, I mean, you being a mixed race Filipino, so I guess you're kind of under the category of, okay, you're what we're looking for. So from what I know, they're not looking into much with Filipinos. I mean, when it comes to international airline companies. But then, like, what advice can you give when it comes to like looking for, a flight attendant or stewardess job?
Advice, first of all, finish studies, whatever studies you're doing. Because to be a flight attendant, it doesn't have to be, say, like in tourism specifically. I mean, I did music myself, and I know others that did nursing and other professions before becoming a flight attendant. So just finish your studies. Next, depending on the company, do your own research as well, because every company is different. So for whatever company you're applying for, do your research and just like practice. Because I remember I was practicing like my interview questions with my mom or like in the mirror or I was just constantly practicing what to answer, what to say. Research just how other flight attendants have made it, in a sense. Like there's a lot on YouTube as well. Or they have social media. These people have social media. They can follow them and just see. What else? What other advice would I give? Just don't give up. I know there's a lot that went to the open days and didn't make it past like the first stage or past the interview. So just keep going, to keep trying. Because I remember me as well. Like my first time I tried, I didn't make it through to the end. So it was only at my second open day that my second try that I made it. So don't give up. Yes, you'll be disheartened and you'll feel sad for a bit, but it's okay. You can
it's part of life,
you can study again, do just research. I think research is the main.
But did you only apply for one airline company, or you?
That's the thing. I only applied for two. The first one I didn't get through, and this one I did. And I actually wasn't expecting it as well, like because I was disappointed with the first one, and I didn't expect to get through to the second one because I thought, the same thing's gonna happen again. They'll eliminate me in the group interview session. But I made it through. And don't worry about not knowing maybe another language. I mean, like for Filipinos, you already know English and Tagalog, or say Ilonggo. That's okay. You can
because it's not really specific qualification that you have to have several languages spoken, right?
And you can always improve as you get the job, or even before that. Like you can always improve the way you speak, the way you talk. Just be confident. That's it.
Do you continue? I mean, your trainings. How is it now?
First, actually, we do have like it. Again, depends on the company, but we do have training beforehand, and then usually every year. I think some might have every 6 months, but every year. And then there's different types of training as well. So some are like every 2 years. Like I just now completed one. It's called the fire training, and
So what do you love most about your job, about flying?
Flying, it's like many others. I mainly love traveling, seeing other places. It's surely opened up my mind to the other cultures, and just like I like seeing other places. I think it's because I'm mixed as well that luckily I've had the chance to see other cultures, but yet to see others as well, not just the Filipino or the Indian side or UK.
Wait, so where have you lived? You lived in the Philippines, you lived in the UK,
and Dubai,
in the Middle East, in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You consider yourself a nomadic person as well. Okay, Nekesha, thank you for your time. Thank you for this wonderful chikahan, just to
thank you
talk
for
about your life as a flight stewardess. And I hope that as how the crazy world is unfolding right now due to COVID, especially with your line of work. I would say you're also one, you would still be considered as somewhat a frontliner because you're still, doing this job, and also your job right now is also helping people to get home to their countries. And it's a risky job that you're doing because you're very much exposed to different people who might be with or without virus, but you don't know it. So So yeah, so I hope and pray that you always be safe. You will always be healthy and all that, and to continue flying and to continue
Yeah.
making your dreams come true. Do you have any, like, you see yourself staying in this industry for quite some time, or what's the plan?
I think a few more years. I also want to continue with my music. That's the thing. So right now I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about it. Like since COVID, I've been thinking, especially like the thought of what to do
Yeah.
if I do lose the job. But yeah.
And what,
So
like, where do you want to see your music? Like, I mean, what kind of plans and dreams do you have for your music? Like something like I don't know, an album or
that's what I'm thinking. Maybe like an EP or an album. Yeah.
oh, that's
But
great.
we'll see. We'll see with what I have written so far.
Well, all the best to you. And
Thank you so much.
as you put your dreams out there and just
Yeah.
really work hard for it, I'm sure, someone somewhere is gonna hopefully sign you up for something that
I
that
hope so.
your
Yeah.
heart desires. It's crazy out there, but yeah, I hope like things will fall into place for someone
Mhm.
like you that is. I know you're working hard for your music as well, and
Yeah.
and, and I think like the more you continue doing it, the more you will be rewarded in the end.
Yes. Hopefully. Yes. Thank you.
So yeah, so stay safe, stay strong,
Thank you.
stay
You too. Stay
stay
healthy. Stay
stay
everything.
healthy,
Stay inside.
yeah, stay inside and all that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. You can subscribe or download to this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Just search for Positively Pinoys. See you next time. Until next chikahan, ingat!